Hello, hello. Check, check. Let's see. What is it today? What is going on? My thing came unplugged. One sec. All right. That's funny. It came unplugged, but I was still talking into the mic anyway, even when I knew it was unplugged. Sort of like when your power goes out, but each time you walk into a room, you flip the light switch on anyway, and then you're like, oh, right. Even though you have your candles and maybe your flashlight in your hand, you're like, flip. So how is this sound? How's my lighting? It kind of looks like my lighting is a little like hazy with the orange. I wonder if I can manage that. Let's see. I don't want to screw stuff up, but what if I turn this off? Is this going to be too dark? That might be better, huh? Not so glowy. Or I could try turning that one back on. Let's see. Oh no, that's way too bright. Let's see, like that. That's kind of too bright. Let me try this one. I don't want to knock everything over. You know how it gets. Is that better? Okay. I am thinking that might be better. What just got brighter over here? That was weird. Anyway, things adjust, And then if I wave my hand in front of the camera, it screws it all up. Annabise, you're back. Hey, girlfriend, how are you? Slightly hazy. Yeah, let me try this one again. Thank you for the feedback. If I do that and then try this one back on, let's see. I don't know why it's slightly hazy. It's like almost the exact same thing that I have every day. But I did change my chair out again. I couldn't take that big comfy chair because then things get out of whack. Like if my shirt's uneven like this, look at that. And with the big comfy chair, everything just kind of like slouches and squishes, and I felt like I was sliding down onto the floor the whole time. And I'm feeling a lot better, fingers crossed, because maybe it's one of these. I think it might be that. Let's see. What if I move it over to here? That's better, huh? I think that might be a little bit better. Now it seems a little too dark. Oh no, you've been super sick, girlfriend. What's been going on? And I have my cursor back so I can highlight. I was waiting for you yesterday and YouTube never gave me the notification. Well, see, they were totally screwing with me yesterday. I don't know why. They seemed like they were really upset with my content. And I don't know why that monster from the Minneapolis assassinations, I don't know why that would be so controversial. I mean, all the news channels are talking about it, but maybe not so much YouTube. But you know what they did to me? They didn't demonetize the episode or the live stream, but they like took it down a notch. So I submitted it for a review because that made no sense. And usually when they do that, when they take things down a notch and then you submit it for a review, they usually like cut the crap. But yeah, I've made some adjustments other than my chair. I have purple at the top here of my chakra tower. So I don't have enough room to go all the way down to the red, only to the orange. But we're getting there. We're getting there, right? I figure the orange is so close to red. Who cares? Nothing has to be perfect. Nothing ever is. But I'm sorry that you've been feeling so sick. Come here, Coco. Come here, baby. I've got 2 of my 3 puppies in here. I've got Coco on the ground, and I got the little tiny crazy one. Not Mookie, the other tiny crazy one. The bye-bye. But what have you been sick with? That's good. Your shirt is good. I have been super sick. Chakra Tower. I know. I'm so excited about it. It's a lot of effort involved to keep the Chakra Tower happy. I've got my feet up on a yoga ball, so it's like rolling around, and I don't want that. I want to be still, but I do like to keep my feet up. My babies are so cute. My grandbaby gets here on Friday. I'll see if the parents will allow me to show him off. And let's see if I move that light. I don't know. Okay, let's just start talking about crap and see what is going on in the world, because it's a lot. And I don't want to be the doom squad. I want to be the hope squad.
You have cheese.
Yeah. Get Mookie in here too. We'll have a dog party. I want to be the hope squad. However, it's looking like dear leader has gone off the rails, and I think he's so panicked about. I still think it's the two posts from the big E. I think it's the post about the little E files, and I think it's the post about the election. Come here, Mookie. Come here, baby. She's like, no, I got the whole house to myself. Why would I want to go in there? Come here, baby. Okay, now we got all three. We'll see if any of them come up onto screen. The news has been horrible. Yeah. Upper respiratory, maybe the flu. So Anna Bees, I was explaining yesterday more about my diagnosis, but I think you were here once I figured out with my chiropractor that my whole gastrointestinal nightmare was brought on by my freaking allergies. She said it was a severe histamine response. And I believe it, because it just resonated when she said it. And then the remedies that she sold to me have been very helpful. I've still been doing the remedies that the regular physician put me on to, the prescription and the over-the-counter meds. So what is it, like Prilosec? I forget. I'm trying everything, and I'm feeling a lot better. He was so embarrassing at the G7 conference in Canada. Yeah, he's an absolute nightmare. So I think that the protests on Saturday, the No Kings protests, were the highest attended protests in the history of the United States of America. And maybe he's heard about that. I know his staff tries to keep the bad news away from him because he's such a freaking toddler. He can't handle the truth. And they don't want to be the messenger with the bad news, because who knows what he does to those people, right? Probably throws ketchup at them. The protests were great. They were almost entirely nonviolent. I guess a man in Salt Lake City was unalived by gunfire, but I don't know that much about it. For the most part, they were peaceful protests. And yeah, there was a lot of effort put forth for people to know, training on how to prevent escalation and how to de-escalate. So, because, people figured that there'd be agitators. I mean, in my opinion, the law enforcement is trying to agitate in some cases, not all. And I want to talk about how freaking phenomenal the law enforcement in Minneapolis has been. Let me scratch my nose as we're talking about all the allergies. And I did take my allergy med, but all of a sudden my nose got super itchy. And I hate to do that without apologizing. But as long as I apologize. Let me do my thing. Thumb, where are you? I moved it. It was there, and then it was there. Okay. Here's the thumb. Please hit your like button, my dear. And the protests were great, and the freaking military parade was great in that it was pathetic. And the military, they were not having it. They were rebelling. They were not happy to be there, and they made that abundantly clear. Because obviously the parade wasn't for the celebration of the Army like it was supposed to be. It was for Donnie and his birthday party. Let's see, get that over there. All right. So make sure that you're still subscribed if you are indeed subscribed. And if you're not, please consider it. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like my channel. Turn on your notification bell to ring. Love will save the day today and every day. We cannot forget that because, man, hope too. There's so much hope. It's unreal. There is like, what did I wrote down one of these things about hope. So we know that Hope is the name of the daughter that the senator's daughter that was 22, the senator that survived in Minnesota, and his wife Yvette threw her body on top of the daughter. I wanted to read over the series of events from that night, Annabise, because more and more is coming out, and of course more and more will continue to come out. Did you know that he went to 4 houses? 4 houses, 2 of which the Democratic residents were not home. But what was it? Something about like Hope. One of his 3 daughters is named Hope, Faith, Grace, and Hope. But then there was also something, maybe I didn't write it down. I thought I did. There was something about like a town named Hope or Hopeville or something like that. Let's see. I could have sworn I wrote it down, but anyway, that's okay. It just sucks when the brain's not working, but this is what happens when I get out of my routine. When I'm doing my videos every day, like rapid fire, it helps me be a lot sharper. But allergies kind of diminish the brain capacity as well, so there's a good excuse. I'm just so glad that you're here. I can't believe that happened. I know. And that it happened on the same day as the No Kings protests and the Trumpster Fire Parade. God, please get us out of this nightmare. I know. It's an absolute nightmare. So I'm sure you remember Annabise, Andrew Cunanan. I remember bringing him up in my lives on YouTube like a year ago, and I don't remember the context, but I thought of him today. Maybe I thought of him yesterday. In relation, maybe it was today, because that's when I really started to learn more about what had happened that night. And I'm going to read to you an article here that is from ABC News about how things went down, because I don't think that this has been out for very long, although this was published 6:30 last night, but I don't know how much circulation it's getting. This is an ABC News article that I'll read in just a second. But Andrew Cunanan in 1997 went on an unaliving spree for nearly 3 months before he was caught. I can never tell which way to turn because it's opposite in there. You know, I want to, like, I don't know. The hair is crazy, isn't it? Should I put a hat on? Or should I just suffer? No one cares about my hair except me, I'm sure. I've got a headband. That'll probably make it worse. Let me try it since it's handy. You know us girls and our hair. The shirt's okay. The hair's a problem. The lighting's a problem. The puppy dogs are a problem. You do remember Andrew Cunanan. It was funny. I first looked up Andrew Cuomo, and of course that's a politician in New York who got a bad rap, I'm sure. Didn't he lose his job? But then Chris Cuomo, his brother, is on News Nation, and he seems like one of the more decent people on News Nation. That's better, I think. I just don't like to have so much forehead, but then I don't want to look like a gypsy either. Did I ever tell you about the time that me and my friend in San Francisco almost got mugged by a band of gypsies? We went out to dinner. What is that area called? Like Little Italy near Coit Tower. There's another name for that area. Anyway, we went out to dinner at the Stinking Rose, a really cool garlic restaurant. And then we were walking back to her apartment. This is when I was in graduate school. And, normally I went out to dinner with my husband and whoever. Like my husband and her and I had gone out before, but for whatever reason, it was just the two of us. And we didn't even think twice about like safety because it was pretty close and pretty nice neighborhoods. And on the way home, a band of gypsies, like I think it was 2 men and 2 women, approached us. Well, first they were like standing on the corner. They were like lookouts in all directions. And then one of them came up to us and asked for directions. And she was more knowledgeable about that area because we were near her house. So she gave the person directions, and it became obvious to her that the person wasn't really interested in the directions. And then a taxi pulled up. And my friend Maria said, "Oh, look, here's a taxi cab. Aren't you in luck? You can just take a cab there. It's too far to walk." And the woman wasn't interested in the cab. But by that point, we realized that we were in trouble, but the taxi cab spooked them. And so we ran home. We called the police. We got in the car. We drove around. We tried to deal with it with law enforcement, but they were gone. It was so freaking weird. It was so weird. Anyway, I hate gypsies. I guess that kind of thing happens in the big cities, huh? Freaking band of gypsies. Your hair is good. You are beautiful. Oh, you're the best. I've never been to New York or anywhere on the East Coast or anywhere in the South. So yeah, that was San Francisco. If you might have thought I said New York. I've been to New York a couple of times. It's way too big for me. Completely overstimulating, overwhelming. Not my thing. I kind of like every other place that I've been in the country for whatever reason. I love Cleveland, haven't been to Detroit, love Chicago. I love small towns. I love big cities. Obviously I've lived in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, DC, love DC. I mean, there's good and bad things everywhere. And I can understand why people like New York, but I can't do New York. I've got no interest in that. It's too big. Or anywhere. You've never been on the East Coast, you got to go to DC. Anywhere in the South. Yeah. I've been through the South. I don't think I've really visited in the South other than Florida. But just traveling through the South. Oops, my bad. I love Chicago. Oh, yeah, that's fine. You were confusing New York and San Francisco. I'm talking kind of fast too, because I know I love Chicago. And Chicago seems like it would be a nasty place. Same with Cleveland. Cleveland has a really bad rap. Chicago is so industrial, but the culture is so rich. And then the whole like gangster backdrop culture, I would think, Chicago, no, not my thing. The people there are just rocking, and the art is rocking, the food is rocking. The last time I was there, I do have to admit, it felt like it got bigger since I'd been there. We were there a couple summers ago when my son went to the boot camp, the Navy boot camp that's up in Lake Forest, north of Chicago. And when we went to the city, I was just blown away. Like, I did not remember it being that populated. I think it wasn't a popular place back in the 80s when I went there more routinely. It was kind of shunned, and now it's considered cool, probably like Oprah and a bunch of stars that are affiliated with Chicago. Oh, and probably the movie The Fugitive, and probably like ER. Seriously, all those things made Chicago cool again. So let me go ahead and start reading on this. I've been through Texas. I'm a West Coast and Southwest girl, and now a Midwest girl. So yeah, I've been West Coast, Southwest, and Texas. Texas is so freaking hot and big. Cray cray. But yeah, parts of Southwest are ridiculously hot, huh? but at least it's drier. It's the humid hot that can be, I don't like either. I don't like hot. Anyway, let's start reading this article to get a better feel for how the events went that night. He went to 4 homes. He had a list of 45 or more Democrats that he was planning on visiting, let's say. So I'm thinking that he was going to try to do an Andrew Cunanan type of thing. And thank goodness those cops there were so on top of it. So let's go ahead and read. Minnesota lawmaker assassination suspect in court. The suspect behind the assassination of a Minnesota state representative, her husband, and the shooting of another state lawmaker and his wife is in custody and faces red rum charges. And you know what else with this nightmare effing freak, this Trumpster fire? Yet another Trumpster fire. He did go to rallies. He was a Trump supporter. He hated Democrats. He hated people that were not right to lifers. Like, that makes so much sense. I hate the not right to lifers, so I'm going to take their lives. Like, okay, yeah, you're not demented. Yeah, you are. What was I going to say about all that? Oh, he killed their dog, Annabees. Now I really want to kill him. I think it was the dog of the couple that survived, but I'm not sure. Hopefully it'll be in this little article here. It allegedly took months of planning, but the suspect in the assassination of a Minnesota lawmaker and her husband and the attempted murder of a second state elected politician unfolded over a roughly 90-minute time span that was foiled by police before more victims could be targeted, officials said. And thank goodness none of the police were unalived either. We need John Wick. I'm not sure who John Wick is. Is that like the Lemony Snicket, the series of unfortunate events? I could Google it, but let me read this. I'll let you give you a minute to answer. And I'll highlight that. I mean, it rings a bell, but I'm not super familiar. The suspect, 57-year-old Vance Bolcher. Oh, and they say that he had money problems. So how did he have like $10,000 on his person and his wife had $50,000 on her person? I guess money problems is relative, and like we're dealing with like white privileged people who probably think that they should belong to the millionaire or billionaire Trumpster fire club. The suspect, 57-year-old Vance Bolcher, was arrested late Sunday night near his farm in Green Island, Minnesota, where a neighbor spotted him on a trail camera and called 911. Oh, he's so scary. Bolcher disguised himself as a law enforcement officer, even driving an unmarked black SUV fitted with police emergency lights to allegedly carry out deadly rampage that occurred in the early morning hours of Saturday in the suburbs of Minneapolis. I keep calling it Minnesota. Sorry, I get so confused. Minnesota, Minneapolis. Which is the city? Which is the state? Okay. And prompted the largest manhunt in Minnesota history. Acting Minnesota U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson said on Monday. It is no exaggeration that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares, Thompson said at a news conference. Bolcher stalked his victims like prey. He went to their homes disguised as a police officer and shot them in cold blood. I do want to address, though, that in my thumbnail for this video, I used an image of Stephen Miller and his identical twin Squidward, because I think that he might be holding the purse strings even more than Donnie himself. And I think that they're in full support of things like this. But I'm wondering, not to be jumping the gun, but I'm wondering if this guy, this assassin, was funded by somebody. You know, the way Donnie and all of his people are always accusing the protesters of being funded by somebody, right? Like, where'd you get that idea? Like, No, that's not something normal people do. It's something freaks of nature do. Keanu Reeves, his character was John Wick and went on a rampage because they unalived his dog. Oh, wow. Is that the name of the movie, John Wick? And that is what it's about? Because, yeah, how horrible. It is so scary that he did that. Yeah, like, I guess not to give him any courtesy, of course, but I guess if you're going to unalive people, the first thing you want to do is unalive their dog. Otherwise, their dog is going to cause you a problem. I'm sorry to say that, but that's, I think, how those things go. I mean, if he unalived the dog after he unalived the people, then that's even worse. If he just did it for shits and giggles. Oh, I didn't do my thing. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an infotainment platform. And we've got the lovely Annabes here and a couple of others. If you guys want to say hi, please do. If you don't, that's cool too. And I'm just really happy to be on and to be feeling better. Hopefully that'll last. So I do got to take it easy. So I'm hoping it'll get to the part about the dog in here. Here's the timeline that Thompson detailed of how the attacks that have sent shockwaves across Minnesota and the nation occurred. June 14th, around 2 a.m., Bolter allegedly dressed in a dark police uniform, wearing a hyper-realistic silicone mask, arrives at the home of State Senator John Hoffman in Chaplin. He parks a fake SUV police cruiser fitted with police license plates and a license plate reading POLICE. Security video shows the masked Bolter allegedly walking up to the front door, holding a flashlight and a 9mm Beretta handgun. The suspect knocks on Hoffman's front door, repeatedly shouting, "This is the police, open the door." What an effing pig. Hoffman and his wife Yvette open the door, and Bolter allegedly shines his flashlight in their faces and says a shooting has been reported in the couple's house, and he asks if they have any weapons. What a sick freak. Wow, I've not known this detail. I didn't read this article prior. I just pulled it up right before I started. When the suspect lowers his flashlight, Hoffman and his wife realize the man standing before them is not a police officer and yell out, "You're not a cop, you're not a police officer." Bolter allegedly responds, "This is a robbery," and forces his way into the home. Yeah, he's going to rob them of their lives and their sense of safety. When Senator Hoffman attempts to push the gunman out of the house, he is shot repeatedly. 17 bullets, I think, in the husband and the wife, and they survived. Like, that's a miracle. I think he had 9 and she had 8. The gunman then shoots Yvette Hoffman repeatedly, flees back to his vehicle, and drives away. Senator Hoffman's young daughter calls 911 at 2:05, reporting that her parents had been shot. But I think Yvette threw herself over Hope Hoffman, the daughter, the 22-year-old. Let's see. Police officers respond to the home and find Hoffman and his wife suffering gunshot wounds. They are taken to the hospital and both undergo surgery. See, she saved their lives because she was able to respond so quickly and because she wasn't shot. Bolter allegedly drives to Maple Grove, Minnesota, about 9 miles from Chaplin, to the home of Minnesota State Representative, whose names authorities have not disclosed. This is one that wasn't home. The suspect is recorded on security video ringing the doorbell at 2:24 a.m., still wearing a mask and dressed as a police officer. Bolter is seen in the video holding a handgun and a flashlight. That's probably the image that I used on my thumbnail yesterday that's been circulating online. Such a creepy image. What a creepy person. Not a person. Soulless freak. The state representative is gone on a family vacation, according to Thompson. Finding no one home, Bolter leaves. And then 12 minutes later at 2:36 a.m., hearing of the shooting at Senator Hoffman's home in Chaplin, New Hope, Minnesota. That's where the other hope is. New Hope, Minnesota. Lots of hope here, I'm telling you. Police dispatch an officer to the home of a state senator in the community about 5 miles from Maple Grove. Let me just write a note to myself about hope and danger and opportunities. It's a nightmare and a very dangerous situation, but there's a lot of hope and there's an opportunity for great things to come of it. And I'm sure that they will, because they already are. Trumpster Fire's even lost his Trumpster Fire base. I think they're realizing he's faithful to no one but Vladdy. No one but Vladdy. Sick monster. And Stephen Miller, of course, who just so happens to look like an identical to Vladdy, a doppelganger. Okay, back on track here. New Hope, Minnesota. Police dispatch an officer to the home of state senator in the community about 5 miles from Maple Grove. Upon arrival, a police officer sees the suspect's black SUV parked down the block with its emergency lights on. So this is not the home where he unalived the people. This is the third house that he went to, I think. And then the fourth one is where he unalived the husband and wife, the state representative. Let's see. Hoffmans are the ones who survived, and Hortman. Those are the two that did not survive. The Hortmans. Let's see, where are we? The New Hope officer believes it's another officer sent to the senator's home to do a welfare check. Oh no, this is the fourth one. Okay, so there must have been one. I'll just keep reading. Quit second guessing it. The New Hope officer drives up alongside the suspect's vehicle, rolls down her window, and attempts to speak to the person she believes is an officer inside. But the person sitting in the vehicle doesn't respond and stares straight ahead, according to Thompson. Okay. This is a different senator's house, I think. The New Hope officer continues to the state senator's home and awaits for other officers to arrive. By the time backup officers get there, the suspect has driven away. Minnesota State Senator Ann Rest later publicly confirms that it was her home that the suspect was parked near. I'm so grateful for the heroic work of the New Hope Police Department and its officers. These are some awesome police officers, which totally makes up for the fact that 5 years ago we had the worst police officer in the world, Derek Chauvin, and his absolute goon squad. So there's even hope for Minneapolis and Minnesota. This is very good on them. Their quick action saved my life, Rest says in a statement, Senator Rest. Bolter allegedly arrives at the home of State Representative Melissa Hortman in Brooklyn Park, about 7 miles from New Hope, at 3:30 a.m. Sorry, I was talking to my daughter. She was just telling me I don't turn the burner all the way off, and gas was going, yikes. Well, I'm glad that she was able to tell you that before there was any problems. Dang. Oh, life is so dangerous, right? Yeah, I hope you feel better, Anna Bees. Let's see. He parks in the driveway with his emergency lights flashing. Bolter allegedly walks up to the front door still dressed as a police officer and wearing the silicone mask. 2 Brooklyn Park police officers sent to Hortman's home by their sergeant to do a welfare check arrive at the house and see the suspect standing several feet from the front door. When the Brooklyn Park officers get out of their car, Bolter allegedly draws his weapon and opens fire on them. As the officers return fire, the suspect fires through the front door and enters the home, fatally shooting Hortman and her husband, Mark. So that was something that I had just found out, which is why I wanted to read all the details. The police officers witnessed him shooting Hortman and her husband. Did you catch that, Annabise? I'll read it again. As the officers return fire, the suspect fires through the front door and enters the home, fatally shooting Hortman and her husband, Mark. Bolter allegedly runs out the back door. Police find the suspect's 9mm Beretta body armor and mask ditched behind Hortman's home. In Bolter's vehicle parked in the driveway, officers discover 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. So he definitely had help. We're going to get there. I don't know if it's in this article, but we'll talk about it. No, I didn't realize that they were there when he did it. I know. That's why I wanted to go down all these details, because that is crazy. And thank goodness it wasn't the police shooting at him that unalived the representative and her husband. That would be almost worse. Let's see. And yeah, they were already scared to death probably with this live shooting happening on their doorstep. Also in the car is a notebook containing the names and addresses of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including information on Hortman. Okay, so 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, but I guess there were 70, somewhere in the ballpark of 70, that included other states like Illinois and Ohio and I think Wisconsin, probably Michigan. I'm not sure, but I know Ohio for sure, and I know Illinois for sure. Okay, including the information on Hortman. Information on elected leaders from other states and abortion providers are also found in the notebook, as well as detailed notes from surveillance excursions the suspect allegedly conducted on potential targets, Thompson said. So I watched this retired FBI expert talking about how he probably went to events that these politicians were speaking at and even shook their hands and met them so that he could look them in the eye and get the satisfaction of knowing that he was going to take them out. Yeah. Let's see. So June 14th, between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., police in Onami, Minnesota, conduct a traffic stop on Bolter's wife. Officers find a weapon, ammunition, cash, and passports in the vehicle. I'm pretty sure it was $50,000. Police release Bolter's wife after questioning her and other occupants of the vehicle. Sources tell ABC News affiliate station KSTP no arrests are made. So the other occupants of the vehicle, I'm going to guess, are children under the age of 18, or otherwise they would state probably who the other occupants were. And for questions about why they didn't detain them, even if they're not arresting them, one of the things that the FBI retired FBI agents said is that not only was there no evidence that she had broken any laws, but also they want to keep things kosher with family members so that they can establish good rapport and hope to utilize them as a good source of information. And that obviously Bolter's wife might have contact with them. And even if she doesn't know where he is currently, he might be contacting her. So they're playing their cards. June 14th, late afternoon, Drew Evans, superintendent of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, releases Bolter's name, saying he's a suspect in the shootings in Chaplin and Brooklyn Park. He announces that a manhunt is underway and asks the public to report any sightings of the suspect to law enforcement immediately. Why didn't they arrest her if she had that money? Oh, okay, that makes sense. I know exactly. I thought that they had at least detained her, if not taken her into custody under arrest. But yeah, I know it made a lot of sense. This retired FBI agent was awesome. Multiple sources. I'll see if I can find that interview and put a link to it in the description. Multiple sources tell ABC News that Bolter has been arrested near his farm in Green Isle, Minnesota. So this is 8:25 p.m. on Sunday, June 15th. After he is spotted on a trail via camera, he is taken into custody without incident. Is that the whole thing? That didn't give that much information. It didn't even mention the dog. Let's see if I can find something about the dog. You know, Annabise, I think I did my whole video yesterday without picking up my phone. I haven't had a chance to review it, but I'm pretty sure I might not have picked up my phone. Although now that I say it, I probably did, right? Bolter shoots dog. My dogs are like, shut up. What you talking about? Oh, Minnesota lawmaker's dog passes away after weekend attack at the family home. This is from 4 hours ago. So yeah, they've only just released this information, I think. The family dog of Melissa Hortman, the Minnesota lawmaker, shot to death in her home alongside her husband, Mark Hortman, has died after injuries sustained in the weekend attack. Helping Paws, an animal nonprofit outside Minneapolis, said the golden retriever Gilbert did not survive the attack. Aww. The organization said Gilbert was originally brought to the center to be trained as a service dog. Melissa Hortman, who worked as a foster home trainer for Helping Paws, eventually adopted Gilbert into their family. Aww. That just makes me want to cry. What a cutie. This is a profound loss for the entire Helping Paws community. A statement on the Helping Paws Facebook page reads, I'm getting all teary-eyed. Sorry for bonking the thing. We are mourning the loss of 2 dedicated volunteers and one of our beloved dogs who once trained in our program. Yeah, puppy dogs. I'm so glad you guys are safe. Let's see. It's like my tears are making it hard to read. Vance Bolter, 57, surrendered to police Sunday night after they found him in the woods near his home after a massive 2-day search. He's accused of fatally shooting the Hortmans in their home early Saturday in the northern Minneapolis suburbs. Authorities say he also shot and wounded Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman, a Democrat, his wife Yvette, who lived a few miles away. Federal prosecutors charged Bolter with murder and stalking, which could result in a death sentence if convicted. Shouldn't it be hate crimes too? Like politically motivated crimes, I think should definitely qualify as hate crimes. By the definition of a hate crime, we can read that in a second. He already faces state charges, including red rum and attempted red rum, at a federal court hearing on Monday in St. Paul. Bolter, and I've been to Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's a beautiful city. in my opinion. Isn't it called is it called the Mile High City? Because you're high up, like you're really close to the clouds. It's pretty wild. But the Mile High City, that might be Denver or something. I'm not sure. Again, I can Google. Google would probably tell me. Can we trust Google? I don't know. Bolter said he could not afford an attorney. A federal public defender was appointed to represent him, and he was being held without bail pending a court appearance next week. So, yeah, that's not that much information. Yes, Denver is Mile High City. Yes. Yeah, definitely a hate crime. Yeah, I know. I'm going to read the definition of hate crime because I think that they do not qualify the politically motivated homicides as hate crimes. So, hate crime definition right here. From the dictionary, a crime typically involving violence that is motivated by prejudice on the basis of ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or similar grounds. See, it should totally qualify. And if it doesn't, they need to change that. Because hate crimes have, this is from the FBI, let me read that, have a higher penalty. The Bureau investigates hundreds of these cases every year. Let's see, hate crimes are the highest priority for the FBI's civil rights program because of the devastating impact they have on families and communities. The Bureau investigates hundreds of these cases every year, and we work to detect and prevent incidents through law enforcement, training, public outreach, and partnerships with community groups. Traditionally, FBI investigations of hate crimes were limited to crimes in which the perpetrators acted based on a bias against the victim's race, color, religion, or national origin. In addition, investigations are restricted to those wherein the victim was engaged in a federally protected activity. With the passage of Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act of 2009, the Bureau became authorized to also investigate crimes committed against those based on biases of sex, disability, or actual or perceived sexual orientation. The FBI investigated what are now called hate crimes as far back as World War I. Our role increased following the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Before then, the federal government took the position that protection of civil rights was a local function, not a federal one. However, the red rooms of civil rights workers Michael Schwerner, Andrew Goodman, and James Chaney near Philadelphia, Mississippi in June 1964 provided the impetus for a visible and sustained federal effort to protect and foster civil rights for African Americans. The case known as Mississippi Burning became the largest federal investigation ever conducted in Mississippi. On October 20th, 1967, 7 men were convicted of conspiring to violate the constitutional rights of the slain civil rights workers. All 7 were sentenced to prison terms ranging from 3 to 10 years. That seems ridiculously light. Let me read this last paragraph. Defining a hate crime. It's not the last paragraph, it's just the last one I'll read right now. A hate crime is a traditional offense like red rum, arson, or vandalism with an added element of bias. For the purposes of collecting statistics, the FBI has defined a hate crime as a criminal offense against a person or property motivated in whole or in part by an offender's bias against race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender, or gender identity. See, it's definitely not including political, but that's because I don't think it's really had to, because we've never seen political violence like we're seeing now. Hate itself is not a crime, and the FBI is mindful of protecting freedom of speech and other civil liberties. Yeah, this administration certainly gives a permissive culture for hate crimes. And Stephen Miller is the epitome of that. So we all know that a few days ago, President Taco reversed his stance on arresting all of the undocumented, I don't want to say the words that they usually say to describe them. Let's just say immigrants. The Trumpster fire said, let's not arrest all of these immigrants because we need them to work on the farms. I need them to work in my freaking hotel. I forgot, that's Mar-a-Lago. So him and all his rich buddies want to keep exploiting people that will do really hard labor for a really low pay. So he said, okay, we're not going to arrest them anymore. And then he has since tacoed on his taco. Trump always backs out. So he backed out of all the indiscriminate detaining of immigrants. And then he said, okay, well, these immigrants that work at these places that we need their labor, we'll quit arresting them. And then he said, no, just arrest all of them, because Stephen Miller got all upset. Stephen Miller is the brains behind the evil buffoonery of what is their goal? To detain like 20 million? Because they say that there's 20 million illegal immigrants. I don't know if that's total or if they're claiming that for what has come in like a certain period of time. But whichever it is, it seems absurdly high. And then if they're trying to deport that many and without due process, this is nuts. Even though I don't agree with people who voted Republican, I don't hold it against them or treat them poorly. I don't understand why they think Democrats are so evil. I know. It's a cult. I mean, there's never been this type of us and them with Democrats and Republicans, in my opinion, from my perspective. People have different political values. So what? People's political values change over time. Sometimes people that are staunch Republicans decide to vote Democratic, and sometimes people who are avid Democrats decide to vote Republican. It's not that big of a deal historically, but right now it's like them's fighting words, and now words of violence. And what's even more shocking to me is people who think that this man's political belief system justifies what he did, and they're looking for motive. It's like, that's not motive. That's effing crazy. That's just plain knuckin' futz, switch the letters around. That's not motive, in my opinion. That's just somebody who's out of their mind. And one of the things this retired FBI agent said, from what she could see so far in the case, and this was probably yesterday, the interview, she said he didn't just snap. He's been planning this for a long time. There's all the evidence to indicate that he's been planning this for a long time, that this is not someone who snapped, so to speak. So he has 5 kids. I mentioned that his daughters are named Faith, Hope, and Grace. And I don't know the ages of his kids. The Hortmans have 2 kids. So sad. And I got their names. Let's see. What are their names? That's funny. I keep not being able to find things that I think I wrote down. I was pretty sure I wrote down their names. So Greg Landsman is a Democrat from Ohio that was on the list. I saw a great interview with him that I will put a link to in the description. So there were 9,000 threats against congressmen and their families. I think that was in this last year. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. And then Murkowski, I think, is she like a senator or state representative from Maine? Murkowski admitted that she fears for her safety if she doesn't vote the way Trumpster Fire wants her to. Okay, so their kids' names are Sophie and Colin. That's public information. I'm not doxing anybody. So Sophie and Colin look to me like they're in their 20s. Beautiful kids, beautiful family. And so they lost their mother and father and their freaking dog. Those poor kids. I mean, again, as if losing your family isn't bad enough, losing your parents to a ridiculous tragedy like that. So I also want to talk today in today's video about Terry Moran, the investigative journalist from ABC. I thought he was MSNBC also, but maybe just ABC, maybe both. Maybe he contracted with MSNBC because I'm pretty sure I'd see him on World News tonight. But he's the guy who interviewed Trump in the Oval Office a couple of weeks ago, and Trump got into the argument with him about the MS-13, MS-16 on the guy's knuckles. And then a few days ago, he put up a post on social media that got him fired. And he did an amazing interview yesterday, I think, with Tim Miller from Bulwark, where he basically was like, I have no regrets for posting that. I took a screenshot of it. He said he posted it because it was true. And it's about Squidward. This is on Terry Moran's X account on the 7th of June, 9:06 p.m. Ready? The thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he is one of the people who conceptualizes impulses of the Trumpist movements and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. You can see this just by looking at him, because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. This is like poetry to me. I mean, it's freaking brilliant. I've always liked Terry Moran. I love him now. And he'll be on YouTube soon with his own channel. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. Wow. That's some really twisted poetry. But I think that Terry knew when he posted that it could get him into trouble, but he made the decision to post it because it was true. And some of his friends, he said in his interview with Tim Miller yesterday, some of his friends figured it was a drunk post. And he was like, no, I had nothing to drink that night. It simply came to me. I wrote it out. I looked at it. I thought about it. It was true. So I posted it. He might have taken it down once ABC told him that he was under investigation. He was probably required to take it down. And then, so they put him on an administrative leave only because Trump's camp put a lot of pressure on ABC. And I'm pretty sure that Trump's camp owns ABC. But if not, we all know that they would destroy the platform and everybody there. But all they're doing really is helping destroy what's left of mainstream media. And I kind of think that all the people that are getting fired from mainstream media, like Joy Reid and Don Lemon, Rachel Maddow is probably next. There's a whole list of them. But I kind of think that all of those people that have gotten fired, that have gone off and started their own YouTube channels, that they are the heroes and that they will create a tidal wave, a tsunami of truth in our alternative to mainstream media platform, which is good. We need them because there's so many freaking Russian trolls and bots trying to destroy this platform, in my opinion. Let me see what you said here, Anna Bees. That the men that red-rummed Emmett Till were never tried, were they? It's a good question, Anna Bees. I've looked into that case a lot. I think they were tried and they were all found not guilty, if I'm remembering right. I'm going to Google it real quick just because I want to be accurate. And then the woman that said that he was lewd to her, she was still alive a couple of years ago. I think she might have passed away now. She was about 90 years old. Let's see what Google has to say about Emmett Till. Emmett Till accuser. So yeah, I think she confessed that she exaggerated, and then I think she recanted her confession. So Carol Brandt Donman, the woman whose accusation led to the lynching of Emmett Till, died at the age of 88. She passed away in hospice care in Louisiana. Her accusation against the 14-year-old black boy in 1955 ultimately resulted in his kidnapping, torture, and red rum. I'll just read the rest of this. It's really short. Donman's accusation, which involved claims that Till had whistled at her and made improper advances at a store in Mississippi, sparked a chain of events that led to the brutal unaliving of the young boy. And he was just visiting his family from Chicago. He had only just arrived. Till's red rum became a catalyst for the civil rights movement. While Donman initially testified that Till had grabbed her hand and made vulgar remarks, she later recanted parts of her story, including the claim that he had propositioned her. Despite this, she never faced formal charges related to Till's death. Her death has brought closure to a painful chapter for the Till family and many others who remember the injustice of his murder. Really? I don't think so. So she died around April 27th, 2023. She was a very good-looking woman. I think she had aspirations to be an actress, but let's see, the people that Emmett Till's attackers court. Let's see what it says. Emmett Till's attackers, Rory Bryant and J.W. Millam, were tried for red rum in Sumner, Mississippi, following the abduction and killing of Emmett Till. The trial, which took place in September 1955, lasted only 5 days, despite overwhelming evidence and testimony against them, including the testimony of Mose Wright, who identified them. An all-white, all-male jury acquitted Bryant and Millam after just 67 minutes of deliberation. Later, Bryant and Millam confessed to the red rum in a paid interview with Look magazine. And because they were already acquitted, they couldn't be retried. But you would think that they could be retried because that's new evidence. So double indemnity, I think with new evidence, maybe somebody can get tried twice, but maybe not. I mean, that's why they usually wait so long before taking something to trial, like in Barry Morphew's case or in the Idaho 4. Dang. Who is Emmett Till's family suing? Till's cousin, Priscilla Sterling of Jackson, Mississippi, filed a federal lawsuit Tuesday. Oh, this is interesting. This was February 16th of 2023. Against the current LaFleur County Sheriff Ricky Banks. The suit seeks to compel Banks to serve the warrant on Carol Bryant, who has since remarried and is named Carol Bryant Dunham. So I remember this. So this was a few months before this creep passed away, the 88-year-old woman. And they found the warrant for her arrest that had been, quote unquote, lost for 70 years, almost 68 years. What a sickening situation. So the reason I learned a bunch about the Emmett Till case, even though, you always hear about it, I never really looked it up until Kendrick Johnson. So I want to talk about Kendrick Johnson the way I want to talk about Kylie Rodney, like all the time, especially because Kendrick Johnson's family members want people on YouTube to talk about his case and put the pressure on. So that was a very, very sad situation. Briefly, a thumbnail is a black high schooler who passed away at school during school hours, and his remains were found rolled up in a gym mat. And the two boys that he had beef with were the sons of an FBI agent. That FBI agent came to the school, I think it's Louds County, and that county has a terrible history. It's with lynchings and stuff. Let's see. Kendrick Johnson update. So Brian Bell is the main suspect's name. The father's name is Rick Bell, the now retired FBI agent. He got himself and a lot of other people fired, but he was able to successfully protect his hideous son. Allegedly, Brian Bell, who was engaged to somebody named Taylor. I'm going to give you her name because she's at the heart of it all. Brian Bell's fiance, Taylor Irk, something like that. It's a weird name. And then they got married a couple years ago. So Brian and Brendan Bell, brothers. Let's see. Another peer, Ryan Hall. The case was reopened, I think, twice. I think the body was exhumed twice, which Emmett Till's body was exhumed at least once also. Taylor Eakin. So this is a petition that has almost 2 million signatures on it. And it's a petition to reopen the case. I want to see the date. I think it's just 4 months ago. Let's see. Did I say when it happened? It happened a long time ago. Like maybe 2014. Let's see, here we go. In the first statement, they stated that Taylor Eakin had told someone's best friend that it is true that Taylor Eakin had intercourse with Kendrick Johnson. And once Brian Bell had found out, he threatened Kendrick Johnson instead of being mad at her for cheating on him. The anonymous witness later stated once Brian Bell found out that Taylor Eakin had intercourse with Kendrick Johnson while dating Brian Bell, he threatened Kendrick Johnson and then told him to meet him at the old gym after third period. Allegedly, Brian Bell has also stated that he unalived Kendrick Johnson multiple times over the phone. Brendan Bell, who was a student at Valdosta High School and is the brother of Brian Bell, had allegedly got drunk at a party on July 4th of 2013 and told people that Brian unalived Kendrick Johnson. Yeah, and then they brought the case up to Ohio from Georgia. Oh, man. This is crazy. The second statement was from Ryan Anthony Domic Hernandez, who is a friend of Brendan Bell, which stated that when he went to Brendan Bell's apartment in Florida, Brendan Bell told him that Brian Bell killed Kendrick Johnson by striking his neck with a 45-pound dumbbell after they began arguing over Taylor Eakin. Attached photo. According to the second statement, Brendan Bell allegedly said that Brian Bell had told Ryan Hall that if he did not keep quiet and help him move Kendrick Johnson's body, his father, who is Rick Bell, who is a retired FBI agent, would make sure that he would pay for it. Rick Bell had then contacted Sheriff Prine and notified him about the quote-unquote fight between both Brian Bell and Kendrick Johnson. Then Sheriff Prine allegedly contacted the county coroner. Kendrick Johnson's organs were removed and replaced with newspaper, which was also, I think, with Emmett Till. Usually they remove the organs to weigh them and then they replace them. Sorry, trigger warning for that. Let's see, where was I? The first autopsy, the removed, replaced with newspaper, determined during the second autopsy. The first autopsy, which was performed by Dr. Marianne Gaffney Kraft, stated that Kendrick Johnson's fingernails were trimmed and worn short. However, Kendrick Johnson's father stated in a video that Kendrick Johnson always wore his nails long. Also, according to Dr. Rob Jenkins, after the internal examination process is complete, all of the organs are placed back into the body and reconstruct them as much as possible before sewing up the incisions, and then cotton is placed in the body to prevent fluid drainage. However, during the process of the second autopsy, after Kendrick Johnson's body was dug out of the ground, Dr. Bill Anderson, pathologist, confirmed that all of his organs from his head down to his pelvis were absent. Then Rick Bell allegedly contacted another FBI agent who remains unknown so that he could edit the school's surveillance video by deleting an hour and 25 minutes of the school's original surveillance video. Ryan Anthony Domek Hernandez stated that Brendan Bell had also told him that the autopsy was falsely documented. However, after Kendrick Johnson's mother, Jacqueline Johnson, and father, Kenneth Johnson, did both a second autopsy and a third autopsy on Kendrick Johnson, they had found out that his death was not accidental and that he had died from blunt force trauma to the upper neck. They tried to say that he crawled into the huge gym mat and got stuck in there and passed away from, what would you call that? Misadventure, right? Accidental, natural, self-inflicted misadventure. In total, there were 3 autopsies. The first autopsy said accidental positional asphyxia, false. Second autopsy said blunt force trauma, true. Third autopsy said apparent non-accidental blunt force trauma, true. If possible, we demand everyone who was accused in being part of Kendrick Johnson's Red Room to take a lie detector test. Please help us. We have all the answers, but we demand justice. Thank you and God bless. Sheriff Prine expressed through the investigation of the death of Kendrick Johnson that although the investigation of the death of Kendrick Johnson is closed, he continues to encourage citizens to contact investigators should they have information. Investigators have continued to follow up on all information that has been presented. Wow, that's really cool that at least the Sheriff Prine is trying to have justice in his jurisdiction, but he got overrode by an FBI agent. Yeah, let's see. Oh, and so the wedding, I think, was 2022. Taylor Eakin and Brian Bell, I think they got married July 2nd, 2022, which means she can't testify against him. It also means, in my opinion, that her life is in danger. They had even registered online for their gifts. Wedding of Brian Bell and Taylor Eakin. A lot on TikTok. Let's see. Yeah, July 3rd, 2022. It's all still there. Oh, they registered at Pottery Barn. How sweet. Really, really sick people. I mean, what a miserable marriage. If he ever thinks that she would rat him out, she will have an unfortunate misadventure herself, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. Okay, let's catch up with you, Anna Bees. And thank you so much, as always, for being here and carrying the conversation. You are the best. Yes, he was very prepared. Cop uniform, car, and addresses of Democratic representatives. Yes, that's why I said ABC has no credibility anymore. Yeah. I mean, Terry Moran, I think he worked there for over 20 or 26 years. I think that's what he said in the interview with Tim Miller yesterday. I know he's been a journalist that long, but I think he's been with ABC that long. Stephen Miller is the epitome of hate and evil, and his disgusting wife went from the fire to the frying pan, leaving him for the big E. I mean, these women are all just gold diggers, in my opinion. Like the one who was engaged to Don Jr. and allegedly had an affair with his dad, you know, the one that was married to Governor Newsom, Gavin Newsom. Anna Bees, I think I was talking about that one yesterday. I don't think you were here for it. If it wasn't yesterday, I don't think you were here for it. that she used to brag how well hung Gavin was. Oh, and she'd been sued for sexual harassment by at least one female employee that she paid a $4 million settlement to. And there was at least one other sexual harassment suit against her from an employee, but I don't know if that one was male or female. Kimberly Guilfoyle. And why did my brain jump over there? Because these women are just freaking gold diggers. Vanessa Trump, the one that dated Donnie and then married his son after sleeping with his dad and then had his baby and then divorced him. And now she's with Tiger Woods, another winner. I mean, we remember what he did to his wife and what she tried to do to him with the golf club, you know, when she was trying to rescue him out of the car with the 9-iron, or was it a 6-iron? Either way, you know, she thought he was in trouble and she was trying to help. Like, she never got arrested for that. Not that she should have been, but yeah, that's domestic violence. Dude had it coming, right? That was like Thanksgiving Day, and she had 2 toddlers at the house and her disgusting husband, and I think her mom was there. She was probably slaving in the kitchen for days, and then found out about his affair because he was probably texting or talking to that woman that was then going to go public, but then she didn't because he paid her a bunch of money. She had Gloria Allred and everything. Who was that girlfriend? My brain is just all over the place. Sorry. I want to catch up with your comments, but Tiger Woods' affair on his first wife. What was her name? Rachel Uchitel. So he had a slew of mistresses, but was that the one that, yeah, I think that was. So Elin Nordgren was the wife who I think is living her best life. And then Rachel had retained Gloria Allred, was going to do like an Amber Fry kind of press conference. And then I think he paid her millions of dollars to get her to not do it. And yeah, it is really sad. The way these rat bastards treat women is so sick. So sick, you know? And it's like, how's that going for you, sir? How's that working out for you, Donnie? The way you treated Melania. Oh man, at his little birthday party when he tried to use his finger to grab her. I think he was using his pinky trying to get her to hold a finger with him, like the hand holding that he did at the Kennedy Center the other day. But she wouldn't do it. She didn't even acknowledge his little pinky, trying to touch her hand. That was hilarious. I'll see if I can find that footage and put a link in the description too. Okay. Kendrick Johnson, who was found in the gym mat. Yes, that was an injustice. It's terrible. And it's great that his parents are fighting for justice and have asked social media to help with that. But I don't think there's been much of a push. And wouldn't that be cool to get that underway? Without that, I mean, like I said, Taylor Eakin could suffer an unfortunate misadventure too. It would be good for the Johnson family to get justice and to protect the hussy, I'll just call her, even though she's a victim in this too. She's also a perpetrator of it, right? That's so awful. Yes, she is in danger of being married to the Red Rummer. I agree. They are gold diggers, just like melanoma. Yes, I listened later about the Gavin Newsom. Oh, thanks, Annabes, for checking out my videos. It's wild. Like, my videos usually get like 20 to 100 views these days. Like, not many, but I'm not complaining. I'm just happy that there's people that are interested, like yourself. And I do it for my own therapy, as you know. But then there was a video a few weeks ago that got like almost 1,000 views, and I'm just like, what? Like, I really think that my videos are suppressed. Like, I almost wonder if they might get more views, but it doesn't register. I don't know. I mean, I know that I've been shadow banned and punished since I started with the Kylie Rodney case, and that I only talk about cases that the powers that be don't want anybody to talk about, right? And if they wouldn't quit, when they shadow ban me, it only confirms for me that I'm on the right track. If they didn't shadow ban me, I would wonder more like, am I just blowing smoke? Do I know what I'm talking about? I mean, I try to only talk about things that I feel like I have a handle on, but of course I could be wrong. I could be wrong about any of it or all of it. I've been suspicious about the election results since day one, and that seems to be coming to light. Possibly even the more mainstream channels are starting to talk about that Rockland County court case, the lawsuit from a couple weeks ago, that is one of the frontrunners of the cutting edge of possibly undoing this, I think, illegitimate election. I don't think the Trumpster fire won. Why else would you have millions of people showing up at this No Kings event? That's just the people that showed up. Like, I didn't go to a No Kings event, but think of how many people like me that didn't go, that, my heart was there. Yeah. I mean, this is what happens, I think, when you steal an election and the people don't want you and you try to pretend that they did want you. It's like, no, they didn't, and they don't. And how smart is that to like force yourself on people? I mean, and how much is that like a violation in that most intimate type of an essay, forcing yourself on someone when they're like, nah, not interested. It's just disgusting. It's despicable. It's like we've all been violated by this administration and will continue to do so. I think that the administration will continue to do so and only get worse. I mean, right now with the situation as it stands with, oh man, is it Tel Aviv? What country was it last night that Trump said everybody should vacate? Like millions of people? Let me see. Trump warned to vacate what city? Millions of people? Tehran. I'm glad I looked that up. Tehran, Iran. Evacuate immediately due to escalating conflict between Israel and Iran. And so it just so happens that little E and Ghislaine Maxwell's dad allegedly sold arms to Israel. Like, it all comes together, you guys. That is creepy AF. I said you guys, and it's just you and me, Anna. It's just the two of us, my dear. And yeah, we've been on for 90 minutes, so maybe wrapping it up would be a good thing. My voice is getting tired and I don't want to overdo it. And I hope you're feeling well. You said you have flu-like symptoms. I hope you can take it easy and, just do the regular water, vegetables, protein, fresh air and sunshine. I can't stand her, but when she does that stuff to Little T, it really cracks me up. I know. Same, Annabise. I can't stand her either. I mean, she's sort of like Taylor Eakin, in my opinion. Like, she's a prisoner of sorts. And if she were to, if there was any suspicion that she would leak anything, she would also probably be met with an unfortunate misadventure. But still, you still got to do the right thing. Like these politicians that are continuing to do their political work, knowing that they're being threatened. 9,000 threats against congressmen and their families. I think that was in 1 year. Let me go over my notes after I catch up with all your comments here, Annabise. And I'm drinking cranberry juice. Always good to drink a little cranberry juice, right? It's so good. Even though it's tart, I love tart. My favorite is like cran raspberry. That's really good. Cran peach, cran mango. Gotta love the cranberry. Okay. I know for sure that you were hid from me yesterday. That is crazy. That's what I'm talking about. And yeah, I mean, when my favorite channels, I'm not saying that I'm your favorite channel, but when channels that I watch routinely get hid from me, I would literally forget about them. There's too many to keep track. I mean, I will continue to seek out some, like Ara's channel, like Mark Molina's channel. I will do everything in my power to find them no matter what. I think Mark might have deleted his channel. I'm not sure. I haven't checked on Ara's, but I have had interaction with both of them, so I know that they're both doing great. So that's good. Let's see. I didn't go either. In Iran, I'm not surprised. I'm feeling better today. I've been drinking water and tea. Thank you, Jazz. With the intestinal crap that I had going, I continue to do a lot of peppermint tea and peppermint essential oil too. Where is it? I had it here. So I don't know if you're into essential oils, Annabise, but you know that I am. And peppermint is supposed to be really good for nausea. And I love it. And then I have my other one. Where did it go? Oh man, that I know it's somewhere around here. Maybe I walked off with it and put it somewhere else, or maybe it just fell on the floor. Anyway, the vetiver, the valerian root, that one is so good. But I'm not finding it. But I have my peppermint tea too. I should mix peppermint tea and cranberry. That would be good. Yes, you are my favorite. Oh, you're so sweet, dear. Not that I have a favorite viewer, but if I did, you know who it might be. I mean, seriously, you are so rock solid. You're always here for me, and that means a lot. Valerian is for sleep. The valerian root is really earthy, and it is for sleep, but it's also just for like relaxation. I like to use it when I'm doing my yoga. Oh, here it is. Yes. Not that you'd be able to smell it through the TV. Smell-o-vision, right? But this is super high quality, this doTERRA. A friend gave this to me, a friend from my yoga training, and that thing costs $88, you guys. $88. Seriously, doTERRA is crazy expensive. Like, it's one of these things, I think it's like an MLM, but the stuff is really good quality. But that was so nice of her to give it to me because she sells it. And she said that she had an open one and it was like almost full when she gave it to me. And that's just too much. I don't think I'd be spending $88 on that, as much as I love it. Yeah. Well, yeah. doTERRA and Young Living or Young Life, those two are the most expensive that I know of. I just get them at the health food store where they're a good quality and they're like somewhere between like $5 and $15 usually. Still, it's expensive, especially if you're getting, I usually get 3 of them for stress. I get bergamot oil, if that's how you say it, bergamot, the smell that's in Earl Grey tea. So bergamot, I think is how you're supposed to say it. And then eucalyptus and geranium. And the 3 of those are really good for stress. I put that in my Epsom salt baths almost always. And yeah, usually it's about $45 if I'm out of them and I need to replace all 3. I have to have like $50 to do that. So me too. I get mine on Amazon. Well, that's a good idea. See, I never buy anything on Amazon. My husband buys everything on Amazon. I've never bought a single thing on Amazon, but I should. I mean, maybe not, because Jeff Bezos, he's a pig too. Okay. So, aren't we all immigrants in this country? Aren't all of our ancestors immigrants? All this crap with Stephen Miller and Trumpster Fire and their bull crap with the immigrant stuff. This country is built on immigrants. Give me a break. Give me a break. Let's see. Oh, I didn't get to the thing about crisis. So let me do that before I forget, because I hate when I say I'm going to get to something somewhere in my video and then I never get to it. So here I'm getting to it. I used to talk about this a lot in my lives or on my videos. This was like the theme of my life, back when I did crisis and commitment evaluations, psychiatric assessments. And those are crisis evaluations. And when I worked in the psychiatric hospital, crisis in Japanese and Chinese is 2 symbols. It's the first symbol is translated as opportunity, and the second symbol is translated as dangerous, or it's the reverse. Anyway, one of the symbols means opportunity, the other one means danger. And that's what a crisis is in their culture. And I think that it's fair to adopt it in our culture. In our culture, we see a crisis as a bad thing. A crisis is an opportunity for change. And that's why they have that cliche, that saying that things have to get worse before they can get better, because you don't fix what's not broken. Once it breaks, you fix it, and then you can have a chance to really make things better. Whereas if it doesn't break, you just keep hobbling along with spit and duct tape with a crippled system or whatever it is. So whether it's a crisis in your marriage, a crisis in your life, a crisis in your country, in the politics of your country, I mean, we're at a global crisis right now with all this freaking war and potential more war in Tehran. Was it last night that Trumpster Fire put out a post that said something like, everybody needs to evacuate now? Like tens of millions of people? Really, Donnie? Are you trying to like create a stampede? Isn't that sort of like yelling fire in a crowded movie theater? Give me an effing break. When are they going to invoke the 25th Amendment and put this guy in a rubber room with a straitjacket? Seriously, he's so stupid. And he's so crippled. His brain is so crippled. He said this about, he was asked if he was going to call Governor Walz, and he said, why would I call him? What a waste of time. What am I going to say? Douchebag, you're the president and he's a governor. And yeah, he might have a bigger package than you, but get over your tiny mushroom package and deal with it. What a freak. He is the biggest loser. absolutely the biggest loser. Okay, so the douchebag that went on the killing spree in Minnesota texted his wife and kids after he went on his rampage. And this was the text, according to a video that I watched. Dad went to war last night. Get out of the area. Unbelievable. People that commit these types of crimes, people that commit any evil wrongdoing, they don't realize the impact that they have on so many people. Like, he literally probably just destroyed his kids' lives, his wife's life. Life as they know it is over. That's for sure. Hopefully, they'll be able to pull themselves together. But some people can't pull themselves together after a trauma like that, and they end up self-unaliving, whether it's in the near future or way down the road. You can't underestimate the impact of the evil. It's just god awful. Let's see. So he ran into a random guy at a bus stop, you guys. I think around the time that he texted that, in the wee hours of the morning. And I think he had the $10,000 on his person and bought the guy's vehicle and an e-bike. So people saw him riding around on an e-bike, when they knew that this douchebag was on the lam, and thought, well, that's weird. What's that guy doing on an e-bike? Like, he just looked really out of place. As he was. You just can't make this stuff up, man. So Minnesota suffered from the execution of George Floyd and all the aftermath of that 5 years ago. Now Minnesota is suffering from the aftermath of this monster's mayhem. Both times Tim Walz has been the governor. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I mean, Tim Walz, I think, is handling the situation very well. He's a very intelligent individual. And all you got to do is tell the truth, just tell your own truth and you'll save lives. Seriously. I think that's about it. I think I'll wrap it up. Let's see. Me too. I get mine on Amazon. I know I hate giving money to Bezos. Yeah, why do these billionaires have to be such freaks? Who was it who said, this was a video that I was just watching right before I came on live, that we got to get, I think it was this guy. I think it was Greg Landsman, the Democrat from Ohio, who was on the list, the kill list. And he said, it's time to get all of these platforms together and not tolerate the hate on these platforms. But then we have these platforms like Rumble and X that are owned by these world-class haters that live off their hate and eat their hate, and they love promoting the hate. So there needs to be laws against it, in my opinion. I mean, people just need to be more decent. People do things online that they would never say or do in person. And it's just like, just because you're online, it doesn't mean it's not real. You're still a person. You're still affecting other people. get it together. And, we can all report when we see people being vile or harassing online, but what does that reporting really do? Anything? I don't know. I do not know. I agree with that. When things were not good in my marriage, a crisis would happen and bring us back together. Little T is such a horrible person, isn't he? He's such a man, baby, toddler. But no offense to men or babies or toddlers. He's so rude, man. He's in over his head, just like Hegseth is so in over his head. All of these mofos, like Kristi Noem, these people in these positions that they're completely unqualified for, they need to be eradicated. They are creating haphazard, dangerous situations for all of us. It needs to stop, man. This illegitimate president, this illegitimate administration, call it a rat bastard president, rat bastard administration. I mean, it's gross. And then they're talking about all the illegal immigrants. It's like, well, you're illegal. You're an illegal administration if you did steal the election, like I think you did. I can't believe he hasn't been impeached yet. I know. I'm like, what's going on with the freaking Dems? What's going on with, there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good work. What? How are we here? It just makes me think that Putin's the puppet master and that he's just pulling strings that we don't even know are there. We know that him and the Big E are tight. We know that he's got tight connections with a lot of these illegitimate folks in this dangerous administration. And then Trumpster fires going on and on about how the M7 summit council meeting used to be the M8, and then they kicked out Putin and they need to let him back in. It's like, no, he's kicked out because he's a disgusting freak, Donnie. Remember, you just came to realize that a week or two ago when you were like, I don't know what happened to him. All of a sudden, he's like a unaliving machine overnight. I thought he wanted peace. It's like, douchebag, you're lying. Quit lying. But he can't. He's like, him not lying would be like a shark not eating or not swimming. Like, he has to do it in order to function, right? Isn't that a great analogy, Annabees? And then he's always talking about, like, well, what would I rather die of electrocution or getting eaten by a shark? I'd rather be electrocuted in the water than eaten by a shark. It's like, are you 5? Like, can you, like, not have this dark fantasy of shark or electrocution? Is that just like a metaphor for the reality that he creates in his life? Maybe that's what it is. Like, he's setting that up. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Where's my tea? My peppermint tea. I can't believe he hasn't been impeached yet. What's it going to take? He has threatened cities that are sanctioned cities with the military. He threatens journalists. He's horrible. He's so horrible. So right now, he's currently threatening. I don't think he's pulled out any of the military from Los Angeles like he was ordered to. Like, where's the contempt of court? Being held in contempt of court. So he's talking about sending the military in and doing the same thing with what he thinks of as purging the immigrants from New York, Chicago, probably more West Coast cities. Yeah, Seattle was one of them. There were 5: New York, Chicago, Seattle. Do you remember Anna B's? I can look it up real quick before I wrap it up. I agree. The hate platforms have to go, and hate on any of the platforms, it's just, it's so dark. It's so insidious. And then you've got people like that ex sheriff's deputy from West Palm Beach, Florida. Is it John Dugan? The guy who took asylum in Russia and has like 150 troll bot accounts and promotes election interference and fake news. Let's see what the bastard's name is. The rat bastard is the rat bastard. That's not what I meant. Okay. Palm Beach Sheriff Deputy asylum in Russia. Yeah, John Mark Dugan. I remembered. So it's Palm Beach County, Florida. Sent voters an email. Russian disinformation sites linked to former Florida deputy sheriff. What a jerk. Okay, what was the other thing I was going to look up real quick? Oh, the 5 cities. They're all rat bastards, yeah. And I'll get the rest of your comments caught up. What cities is Trump planning the mass deportations? Let's see. The Democratic-led cities. Again, the hate, man. I just want to see if it mentions the other ones. I would think one in Texas, maybe. It's not listing the cities. Five Democratic cities Trump wants mass deportations in. Might have it on here. Yeah, I said M7. It's the G7 summit. You guys knew that, right? Anna B's. The sanctuary cities. But which ones? It's not listing them. There was a list of 5. Seattle, New York, Chicago. Like I said, probably one in Texas. Like, if there's a blue city in Texas, that would probably be Austin or San Antonio. I'm not sure. But it was Dallas, Texas, where they had the Handmaid's Tale crew marching on the No King's Day march. Why won't it list the cities for me? He's just talking about expanding efforts to detain and deport illegal aliens in America's largest cities. Turn its attention to New York and Chicago in addition to Los Angeles. I know they mentioned Seattle too. Let's try one more time. largest cities Trump wants to detain illegal aliens from: New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle, and what else? Seattle, and what else? It's not going to tell me. Okay, I'm going to have to give up. You know me, I have trouble with that. I have trouble giving up. But sometimes you just got to cut bait. That's like the secret to a long life is knowing when it's time to go. Yeah, like some of the politicians that have resigned. But I'm really grateful for the ones who are not resigning. Come here, puppy dogs. Who wants to be on the television? The video. Come here, babies. Come here. I am really going to wrap it up. We're getting close to 2 hours. Thank you, my dear Anna, for being here. Come here, Coco. Come here, Coco. Come here, little rascals. Mookie. Come here, Chi. Come here, babies. They're just all chilling. Come here, honey. Come here, Chi. Come here. Come here. Come here, puppy. Come on. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. Come on. Come on. You're not going to come. You're not going to come. Come here, cuteness. I got you. Oh, she's just too relaxed. She's too relaxed. She's like sleeping on this pillow. I say she's got like bell-bottom shaped legs because they're so furry. The fur is so long. And they're like little mops when she goes outside in the rain. And her ears are like little mops when she's drinking water. Okay, let me catch up with the rest of what you said here and then say goodbye until tomorrow. I think the election was stolen too. At the G7 conference, Little T kept bringing up Putin. I know, he loves him. And he's like, he called me on my birthday. I agree with that, but sharks are better than him. Yeah, they are. I know sharks are pretty cool creatures because they're very efficient. They're just bad if you get eaten by one. Seriously. They are all rat bastards. You're welcome. I look forward to seeing you. Your babies are so cute, so adorable. This one is so funny. And last night and the night before, I let her sleep not in her crate, and she did very well. Yesterday, I had her come in. If you saw the video from yesterday, Anna Bees, as soon as I had her come in, and then she had been outside, I think my daughter brought her in from outside and then let her into the studio here. And she came in, and I gave her some love and showed her on the screen, and then I set her down, and she went to the bathroom in the corner after being outside because, she didn't want to go to the bathroom outside when it was all wet. You can't blame her. She's just a puppy. She's gotten a lot better. She gets better every day. So, all right, my dear, you take care. Thanks a million. Love and light. Just enjoy every day and keep praying for a better day, right? I mean, it's so sad. Like, for all the people in Tehran, can you imagine having to just abandon your city? Like, where do you go? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Come here, Mookie. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. Oh, look, you can see her whole silly body. She's like a teenager. She's like all awkward in her teenageness. And she was like a quarter the size when my son and his girlfriend first got her. She was so tiny. She was probably, what, 2 months old? She 8 weeks old? I don't know. But she's just a little love bug. She is so cute. And she was so happy to not be in her crate, to be free like the other dogs. All right. Good night. Goodbye. Or I said good night. It's 5:00 almost. Man, it got late since we've been on for so long. Thanks so much, Hannah Bees. You're the best. And I will talk to you soon. Hopefully see you mañana. Have a great night. Take care. Thank you, honey.